listening to this. There was a woman talking about the sun god Ra. I just saw that that was the name of what a lot of cultures around the world in ancient times saw as the universal God. And then looking at the tarot cards with the depiction of the sun, and then there's a child on a horse with arms out, like it's like the free child of um, free spirit or something like that. After having listened to the how the sun as God was viewed by ancient cultures, and there were some depictions in buildings like temples also with human faces, and this either the this light in then Danish we call it glory, like glory, but I don't know what it's called in English. And then there's this man with a human face, and then this like the sunlight around his head. And it made me think about these depictions being a symbol of the fusion between man and sun, like the divine and the human flesh and blood, and the raising your level of connection with the spiritual and divine, and with these maybe they saw in the child the beginning of life, and the life giving in the woman's body as the most amazing wonder, the most enigmatic thing that happened on earth. And they called then the boy son, and so it's like sun and sun. That's the English words. I solar sun. I don't know in other cultures, but well, you can't just. But these depictions in the tarot cards that are also old, um, from older religious cultures, but I don't know how old they are. But it seemed that also with the depictions of people and these sun rays, and it seems like it was this fusion, this between flesh and blood and the divine. The the sun that they somehow knew was the center of it all. But maybe it's because it's big and you can see it's big, and it has this clear light that makes people warm when they're cold, and it has good qualities. Uh, so they knew that was the center of it all. And I think it's funny thinking about, well, it's but I don't, in Danish it's sun, like almost the same, just S and then O with the and then N. It's a Danish letter. um, and so maybe that's how the god became masculine, an old man sitting in the sky, because it was associated with sun. How we know it today, it might not be that old, that that the linguistic similarity or the association with between the boy and the son. But I think it was more those old carvings and art pieces of the sun and this light around the people's heads. It was more like, well, these persons were considered to have and to be connected with some spiritual energy. They I don't know, they might have earned that somehow. They were, or they made these art pieces of art to show what they considered to be holy and yeah, because it's with all these cultures around the world, all seeing in ancient times the sun as the god. It seems like in the beginning it was not an old man, it was something where they could see this sun that they didn't know what it was, and they felt this power from the sun, the light, how they could feel it on the skin, and they could see when it became summer and it was warmer, then all these plants started growing, and it was magical, maybe in a different way than today. Not that they would uh, keep thinking that year after year in like this, wow, whoa, what's happening. I think they had some kind of memory from year to year. It's not, but it's maybe they, maybe also when if it was raining a lot, like a month, they would then we've heard about rain dances, Indians dancing to get rain. There could have also been rituals to make the sunshine to for the plants to grow, and things like that for it in a more well, we just watched the weather forecast, and then the person on TV tells us that, well, it's going to be rainy the next few days, and then sun, and then well, the so and so many degrees Celsius, and then we don't have to think about that. It's they figure out how the weather's going to be, and the farmers and people who need to know about the weather can look and see how what it's going to be. But I think before that they didn't know. They didn't have the chance to look into the future. So these people on TV talking about the weather, they are our times, uh, except it's based on scientific methods. Well, if not, they would be like they could look into the future, like mediums or whatever it's called. Um, so it's a very different culture because we base our knowledge on science and that kind of wisdom, and the old-fashioned, ancient wisdom was different. Uh, and now when I think about it, it just feels like we built this cozy little home of our truth, and thinking about the infinite universe, and us sitting here thinking that we're safe and sound, and that it seems a bit crazy.